Welcome to Meet the Candidates. Hello again, I'm Greg Anderson. The next 30 minutes we will bring you a fresh perspective on one person out of many. I think there are 345 people running for office this year. One person who is running for school committee. As you can imagine, in the interest of equal time, we have offered for this one-on-one interview to be conducted with everybody that is running for office, regardless of the position, and we've been pleased with the response, and I'll introduce you to my guest in a moment. Now, on Wednesday, April 5th, Sandwich Community Television and the Sandwich Enterprise will once again partner for the Sandwich Candidates Forum. That will be a debate. This will not. This is basically a conversation between me, a voter, and one of our candidates. So let me introduce you to Nancy Freeman. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. We're getting used to the lights.
Yes.
We're getting used to the lights, but you definitely have a face for TV, so it's nice that you are here.
Oh my goodness, bribery will get you everywhere.
It does. Nancy was saying before we started shooting that last time she was on TV, you were what, 8?
8 years old. I was Cinderella.
Okay.
We're gonna educational TV.
We're gonna grill you on that a little later to see if you still know the songs and the dance.
Oh please, as long as I don't have to do it.
Exactly.
Or sing it.
So there's a lot of things that I'm eager to talk to you about, and but the one thing that candidates who have never run for office before, or who have been in town. How long have you been in town?
It'll be 11 years in June.
Okay. So when you're looking at the time that you've been in Sandwich and you have lived life here, now you're interested in running for office and a school committee position, what is it that people need to know about your background that brings you to the interest of wanting to be on the school committee?
Well, I think it's about time that I got involved in the town of Sandwich, and the one area where I feel I can contribute is on the school committee. I have 30 years in education, and that's over 3 different states, Texas, Ohio, and in Massachusetts. 25 years I was a classroom teacher, and 5 years I was an administrator. I can go on and on about all the other things I did, but I don't know.
It has been your life, the academic world.
It has, it has. And when we first moved to Sandwich, I took care of newborn 2-month-old grandbabies for 5 years until they were in school full time. Yeah. And Nana has to brag, I am a reading specialist, but they were both reading on a 6th grade level when they entered kindergarten.
Wow.
Yes.
No kidding.
So I do know my things.
You know your stuff.
I have a reading specialist certification also.
Okay.
And a few other things. I have worked on a state level committee in Texas. I worked on choosing the textbooks for the state. And also I worked on a national level, national board recognition. I was an evaluator for teachers trying to go and get their certification for a national board, which is a pretty big honor. Anyone who is in the education field would understand. So besides being taking testing for dyslexia in all the districts. While I was still in the classroom, I taught from grades 2 to 7, also gifted and talented. And as an administrator, I was a curriculum instructional. I have to go over the letters, it's been a while. Yeah. Curriculum instructional. Oh my goodness gracious.
Like specialist?
I'm blind. Yes, in other words, sure. I help teachers become better teachers. Yeah. I worked with them in teams, I worked with them on grade levels, one-on-one. I was in the classroom modeling, helping them, showing them different ways, suggesting different ways to get objectives across. Did that. I also was a liaison between our middle school and a local university. And this was in inner city, and it was a middle school. So we had many students with their ankle bracelets on, ankle monitors, and these poor children don't know anything beyond their area. So to take them to a university was a wow for them. And we continued with this partnership, and eventually we had students from the university volunteering to help our students, and they would come after school and they would tutor our students. And I also helped develop a Saturday program at our school, and we would get between 80 and 100 students coming.
Wow.
And this is an inner city school on a Saturday morning when cartoons were on, but we would work with the objectives, but not in the way they were taught in the classroom.
Right.
These were all hand-on things, fun things, but they got the objective a different way, and they were in control in many occasions. They worked as teams and partners and had a lot of fun, and they hated to leave.
So what I'm taking away from this is the dynamic that you bring, that is the educational perspective of being a teacher, you know, the parent-teacher, student-teacher relationship.
I had many of those too, student teachers.
Yeah, but you also bring, there's an organizational piece, there's a leadership role that you have had with different parts of your career.
Yes.
In reviewing the information that you had sent me about your campaign,
Correct.
you had said that you are running on a need for change in leadership and curriculum.
No, not necessarily. Those are my concerns.
Okay.
I'm running because I want Sandwich schools to be #1. When I set a goal, I want to meet that goal. But I have concerns right now, though, because, and I think they're well known, so many changes. You know, in 11 years, we've seen 4 different superintendents. I've never encountered anything like that. And then changes, so many changes in programs in the schools. And why do we have so many new programs? I want to know what happened to the old programs. Are these new programs a continuation? Was there a reason the others didn't work? See, this is the angle I'm going in. And I'm not playing, I don't want to, you know, sound like I'm a devil's advocate here, or I'm just curious. I want to know, how can we help? What can we do to change? I don't want to use the word change, but how can we improve without constantly having to spend money? Because it seems oftentimes this is the solution that's given to the problem. We need more money, more money.
Right.
And with all the changes that we're making, that means new materials, new equipment, new furniture, sometimes moving children. For instance, right now, children are moved to different schools. There was a configuration. Not that I'm against everything. I don't want to sound like that, because actually I love the configuration. But, you know, we even have the administration offices moving. It's just, nothing seems to be the same for a long enough time to maybe see if it would work.
Right.
And
Let me ask you this, Nancy. If you were to, and I think your experience has over multiple states and different school districts, and of course living here in Sandwich, education is a competitive business. Here in the Upper Cape and in Sandwich in particular, we have private schools, VOTEC, we have charter schools. How do you think Sandwich schools compete in that context?
right now, I'm not really sure because, you know, there's been a drain on Sandwich to go to the charter schools. I don't know. They're not #1. I know anytime we've met new people when we first arrived, and they'd say, "Oh, you live in Sandwich. What's wrong with your schools?" I didn't know. I was a newcomer now. And, you know, I've been following everything I can get my hands on, and I just want to get in and see if I can find out more because I want to help. I want to help. I mean, schools are important. I know my children, I wanted to make sure we were always in a good school district. And, you know, people looking for a home in Sandwich, one of the first things they'll ask, what are the schools like? So we've got to correct whatever it is, and I'm not sure what it is that's causing the problem right now.
We should note that you are originally going to run for the 2-year seat that was vacated by Jim Pierce, who is running for selectman. You have are now running for the 3-year seat, so you were challenging Sean Roush and Jim Dever for their seats. You come across as a woman that once you're in, you want to go for it. Am I right?
Well, I do. And if they don't want me anymore, then I will gracefully depart. But I don't want to get in the middle of something, and I don't want to have to leave in the middle of something.
Yeah.
Once I set a goal, you can ask my husband,
Yeah.
get out of my way. But no, and the way that just came about as of Monday.
Yeah.
And Monday I got a phone call from a total stranger asking me, what do you do? What can we learn about you? Because the newspapers are just saying you were a teacher in elementary and middle schools. So spoke to this woman for some time, and she kept saying, oh, we need you, we need you, we need you. The school committee really needs teachers on board. And way back when I picked up my first papers, I was unaware that there was a 3-year opening. And so that would have been my first choice.
Right.
And so after she said that to me, I knew I have to make sure I give it my very best effort to get on. And when I saw that Steve Moynihan was also applying for this 2-year position, I didn't want to lose another teacher. If 2 of us could try to get on, it'd be wonderful. And Steve and his wife have contacted me and helped me today. They filled the whole paper for me, and I have filled the other. And when I leave here, I'm turning in my nominating papers.
Good. Let's talk a little bit about the school budget. Let me take you through some of the topics that we as voters would be interested in getting your perspective of.
Oh.
In January, in the January 4th school committee meeting, Dr. Gould had identified a need for additional social workers at the high school in Forestdale. She referenced discussions are happening of a per pupil expenditure for supplies and materials and technology. And there are other unfunded mandates. From a district funding perspective, what are your observations? You're not on the school committee. I'm not expecting you to have the inner workings.
I don't. Okay.
But if you were to be looking at this as
a taxpayer?
As a taxpayer, and you are going to walk in on your first day as being a new member of the school committee, the budget and its funding and those resources coming in will be part of your task. What are your observations?
Would you repeat that list again? I lost the beginning.
That's
I got
okay.
carried away.
She had mentioned the need for additional social workers at the high school
would
in
you stop
Forestdale.
there?
Sure.
I would have to question the need for social workers.
Okay.
Do we no longer have counselors in schools?
We do. And I think what she was talking to, and I don't want to speak for Dr. Gould, but in the school committee meeting, she was really addressing things from a budgetary perspective. And these are just a sampling of the things
I'm
from the
sure.
superintendent's
I'm sure.
perspective. But it does speak to that larger issue. Do we have enough resources to be the best school district that you are seeking?
I would like to know what exactly the social workers would be doing, how they would benefit our students. I mean, is this a full-time thing? Are they here only once a month, once a week? I would need to know more about that before I could really give you an answer one way or the other. I don't jump to conclusions.
Yeah, sure. Do you, from a budget perspective, have you been a part of observing the budget process?
A little. My husband is also on a committee he's on, and he comes home from every meeting telling me about, did you know that this and this?
Yeah.
And so, we've been paying close attention because we've lived here now, it'll be 11 years in June, and every year our taxes have gone up.
Yes.
So, and schools are the biggest share of that.
Yeah, exactly. As a parent in town, my children are not in the school district. But as a parent in town, I would be pleased to know of some of the enhancements that are happening, and there are plenty. Sandwich Community Television, for example.
Right.
A big part of the school now with facilities and educational opportunities in television and broadcasting. There is a new focus through the superintendent for an increase in fine arts and a new department head, in fact, in that department. There's an additional health teacher that will have a focus on grades 7 to 9. There are good things that are happening in the school. Could you identify or even just give a general perspective of some of the things you would like to see that would be an enhancement, short-term, long-term, as it relates to the school system?
That would be an enhancement. Well, I have a concern about something, maybe a concrete subject going in there. I really think geography, history especially, needs to be back in the schools. You know, children know nothing about what happened. Today I read an article that, 9/11, some of them don't even know what that was. And I'm thinking, that was recent,
Yes.
I realize these children were babies, some of them, but, without the knowledge of what has already taken place, they have no total understanding of what is going on now. I know they're young, but they're going to be adults soon, and they need that background. And I don't know if that's a possibility, but that has always been, once that was taken out, I thought we lost a lot.
What about classroom size? You must have experience with large classrooms, small classrooms.
I never had less than 35. And always only had 30 chairs.
No less than 35?
No, when I was in middle school. I was in a portable all the years I taught in middle school. And never had more than 30 chairs. And they'd come in moaning and groaning, I don't have a seat, I don't have a seat. And I'd say, first one's in, get the chairs. And I said, you need to talk to your parents if you want more chairs here. So I've never had, well, in Texas, that was my smallest class. In Ohio, I think my classes were about 25. And in Massachusetts, that's really going back. My first year of teaching was in Worcester. I think I had maybe 20. It was second graders then.
How do you feel Sandwich is on that issue of school classroom size? Things good?
Sounds like the class size is good.
Okay.
And actually what I've heard about the current programs, I'm very interested. I'm meeting with Dr. Gould tomorrow, and one of the things I want to ask is, how do I get a visitor pass? Because I would like to, first of all, I'd like to go see the STEM program in action, and then I would like to see certain grade levels in the elementary schools, because I need to know. I can't make judgment until I'm there and see. I don't think it's right.
Okay. You have a new principal for the high school.
Dr. Boris is leaving, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
So there will be a new principal. Putting your management hat on,
Correct.
and interview hat on when it comes to looking for the right candidate, who are you looking for, you personally, as a new high school principal?
This will sound strange, but does she like children? I worked for one that locked her door and didn't want to be by the children. This is way back.
Interesting. Wow.
What are her views on discipline? How approachable is she for both students and other teachers? Will this person be aware of what's going on in classrooms, or does she just kind of leave teachers on their own? These are some of the things. Boy, you caught me right off the top, huh?
Yeah,
this is what an interview is, isn't it? You can't study ahead of time.
Exactly. Well, you know it when you see it.
Right.
And a resume is just words on paper.
Exactly.
So that process, are you looking forward to being part of the interview process for a new principal?
Why not? I would love it.
Yeah. That'd be exciting.
It would excite me.
Yeah.
I'd like to know previous background, where she's been, what made her, try for this opportunity.
Yeah.
Would she come in with a totally different change in the building format, or,
Yeah.
these are the kind of questions. And if I knew ahead of time, I have 2 pages full, I'm sure.
Yeah, good. 2 topics I want to ask you about. One, I'm going to ask you similar questioning, but 2 very important topics, particularly my children are 17 and 14. So this is in my sweet spot, and I'm sure it is with other parents as well. Substance abuse and bullying. I don't want to ask you for data research, and don't get too complicated unless you want to be.
No.
But how do you view our ability or your role on the school committee to be able to mitigate, address, help in, and we'll take
That is an important one.
substance abuse first. Tell me about that.
Substance abuse, unfortunately, is all through the Cape, in all districts from what I hear. And really and truly, do we not have enough activities for the kids to keep them in after-school programs? I mean, how many can we? I know sports play a big part in a student's life. Are these children monitored at home at all? I mean, we can't be the parent. I mean, the parent has to do their part.
Right.
We only see them, maybe for some, we see them longer periods of time than their own parents do. But I don't know, I think it starts at home. I'm not, saying we shouldn't help out, but you have to set your kids down. You have to tell what is permissible, what is not allowed. You have to monitor their friends, where they go, give them a time, that they have to be back, a curfew. You have to discipline. It's not, your children are not your friends, not until they're adults anyway, and when they're babies, they're cute. But they have to know who's boss. You can't let them make their own rules, because if you do, you've lost them. You've lost them, and that's when the serious problems start. I mean, it's bad enough you see the 20, 30, 40s, you read in the paper every week that somebody else is overdosed or whatever, and that's frightening. But by the time they get there, I think a lot of it is lack of jobs. They have no place to go. They can't make, money. This is why education is important,
Do you, from your observations, do you feel that our school district in Sandwich is addressing substance abuse and mitigation?
I don't
to your
know. I
satisfaction?
honestly don't know.
Okay.
And here again, that's something else. When I get involved, I'll know about everything.
Yeah, of course, of course. Bullying.
Oh,
Talk to me about your thoughts on bullying as it relates to, you're on the school committee, you would have a voice in ways in which the school district can manage this. What are your thoughts on that?
In Texas, we had, I can't remember the exact name of the program, but we had student groups that, so many, say there were a team of them, and they were the bully searchers or whatever, the burly, I can't even put it, the bully council, how's that? When we heard, found out about Annie, we had this group of students, and teachers would be there too, but the students would handle it. They would talk to the person being bullied and the bully, and why, get them in a conversation, and then follow them. We'd follow that particular incident until we see a difference and improvement. And it worked for us. I know it probably sounds like a simpleton thing to do, but it did, because it was other students being aware that they're going to get caught, they're going to have to follow this procedure and meet with a council, and it helped us tremendously. I don't know how it would, on a high school level, but I'm sure we could develop more of a grown-up manner maybe, or maybe that would work too.
Yeah.
But you have to stay on top of it. You can't let it continue.
Okay. Yeah.
Anything else?
Let me ask you this.
What?
Dr. Gould,
Okay.
you're meeting tomorrow.
Yes, and I'm so excited. I just see her picture, and she just has such an approachable look about her.
Yeah.
And everything I've heard about her is so wonderful that I'm excited.
Have you observed how she's been doing?
Yes, I have. I've paid attention. My husband actually got to talk to her at a meeting, and I said, wow, why didn't I go to that meeting with you?
Yeah.
You know, but.
So here's what I'm asking all of the candidates. What letter grade would you give her from your observations so far? She's new.
Initially, I'd give her 100%.
Yeah.
You know, that is my first impression. And my mother always said I should put my shingle out on the window because I can judge people right off the top. And 99% of the time, I'm right.
Good.
Yeah.
So you are coming up on this election. Mm-hmm. You are going to, am I going to see your signs out on the lawns?
I'm not going to do that many signs.
Yeah.
Probably just by the voting places.
Yeah.
I haven't come totally to that. Right now, in fact, this morning I was working in between standing in front of Stop and Shop in the library.
Yeah.
When I get home, I was working on my flyer. I know what I want to say, but I have a hard time being very brief. And so this is what I'm working on because nobody will read, solid and
So then let me ask you, in the interest of brevity, but also in the interest of giving you that opportunity, give us kind of that 30-second commercial, if you will, loosely stated.
Okay.
Why should I vote for you? Why should your neighbors vote for Nancy Freeman to join the school committee for 3 years?
Well, because of my background. I'm really placing it on my background. I've had many experiences in 30 years in education in 3 different states, 4 different school districts. I've taught from 2nd through 7th, gifted and talented. I'm a reading specialist. I do dyslexic testing. I've worked on national levels and committees, statewide committees. I've been, a hands-on teacher and also, now I don't want to say hands-on administrator, that doesn't sound good, but I'm with the teachers. I'm for the teachers. I'm not out there against the teachers. I want to help teachers, and in that role, I wanted to help teachers become better teachers. And if I didn't know how to do it, I found a way to show them how to do it. I found someone who could help, because I want the best for our students. Children are very important. They're our future. Yeah. Especially when we get old.
Yes, that's right. We need them to be in the best shape possible.
Yes, oh yes.
Yeah, well said, well said. Nancy, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, well, I hope this was fun. And
it was fun.
Good, good. I want to thank this program's executive producer, Paula Johnson, who works very hard to put these shows together each time we have an election. All of these Meet the Candidate programs that we do takes a lot of scheduling. I know we had to reschedule a couple of times with Nancy. We believe in bringing thoughtful discussion, thoughtful insight to you as the voter to make the best decision possible. I hope that I will see you at the upcoming Candidates Forum, which will be held at Town Hall on Wednesday, April 5th in the evening, up on that 2nd floor. That will be your opportunity to ask questions. You'll see the exchange between some of the candidates and, of course, meet them in person if you have yet to do that. This forum is sponsored by the Sandwich Enterprise and Sandwich Community Television. Thank you for your time. I'm Greg Anderson. We'll see you soon.